I had confidence in Bill, and I had confidence in his commitment to Penn State and everybody here and the players, so that hasn't changed.
Okay. And then the reports out there about the salary increase or a raise,
absolutely, what he said is exactly true. And it's absolutely, I mean, what Bill said about that is exactly what didn't happen, I guess is a good word, a good way to say it. But everything he said, absolutely correct.
So obviously it's possible.
Well, anything in the world's possible.
He has no kind of.
There are no demands. There's no, if you don't do this, I'm not doing that kind of thing. None of that. Not at all.
Could you clarify that the university's position on the buyout clause of this contract?
That's online. You guys can read it. And I'm not your attorney, and I'm not an attorney, so I'd let that, for everybody to, to do on their own.
Has that been a point of contention with Bill and his representative?
No.
Okay.
No.
Dave, did you see this coming? Did this surprise you, this whole process?
Well, the process of how it spiraled wild in the media, that surprised me. But how it worked out in the whole thing this week, exactly as I expected it to. So
why would that surprise you? Coaching searches get leaked all the time.
Oh, I know that, but I'm saying how it was magnified, beyond what beyond what it really was and what it needed to be. And I think you saw what Bill said. And I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm saying that's the way the world works. You guys know that. But the way Bill portrayed it and characterized it is exactly accurate, and so I think that's a very fair and appropriate thing to say.
Have his assistants had across the board increases?
Everything's as it has, and I'm not going to talk about personnel stuff. Bill talked about bonuses, and again, that's personnel stuff. I'm not going to talk about it, but we're always trying to improve things for people, and we have budgets to live with, and we have to run it as a good business. But within that, you have to keep in mind that you want to keep your people happy. And I can say this: that the people that work here don't work here for the money. They're certainly well compensated. But on the other hand, that's not what motivates them. What motivates them is what Bill talked about, and that includes Bill O'Brien. And what motivates them is working at a great university and playing and being able to coach these great young men and working with all the coaches together in this great department as one team. That's what motivates these guys, and I'll tell you that's exactly what motivates Bill O'Brien.
Dave, how would you describe your working relationship with Bill?
Outstanding. I mean, like he said, we talk several times a week, even during the season. They're very busy during the season, so we pick our times carefully. And a lot of times on Fridays, he'll give me a call or I'll give him a call. And sometimes it's just how's it going. Other times, but we work on specific things, and we might bring it up during the season that I think we could do something else better. Okay, good. And we wait till the end of the season. And Bill and I have meetings all the time. We have a list of things we go over, just like you always do. And I'm always looking at, as we do with all our coaches. And, I've met with coaches. I'm continuing to meet with them on their individual basis. What can we do to maximize your program, and how can we do that and work together with you? And we're doing that all the time with all the coaches. And Bill and I do that continually. So it's a continual process, as he talked about, that is ongoing.
How often? I'm sorry. Dave,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
How often were you in contact with him while he was going through the interview process?
Well, Bill and I talked. He was on vacation. I was working at the Rose Bowl at the behest of the Big Ten. And with that relationship, it's a very important part of my job, to work closely with Jim Delaney and the Big Ten. And so I was there. I was in continual availability for anybody here at the university. The only time I'm not available is when I'm on an airplane, and sometimes I'm available on an airplane if they got Wi-Fi, and I'm emailing people back and forth. So I want to set the record straight about some of those things that have been said. Bill and I talked while I was away. He was at Disney World on vacation. We emailed, we texted, and we kept in contact. Was there a 2 or 3 day period that we didn't? Well, sure. He's down there riding a roller coaster with his, with Michael, and he and I. The week worked out exactly the way he and I had talked about in the beginning, as far as timing and discussions and things like that. So there was nothing unusual at all about last week. I mean, there was a lot unusual about last week, don't get me wrong. Nothing unusual in the communication between Bill O'Brien and myself last week.
Had you developed a short list of people? Had he had it progressed further with the NFL?
No, I was very confident in Bill. I believe in Bill, and I believe that we would be sitting here talking this way today.
Bill, Dave, how long were the talks Thursday night? Thursday, late afternoon, evening?
What talks? I'm sorry.
Well, there were reports that Penn State officials were talking with Bill after it came out that he'd interviewed with the Eagles and the Browns.
Well, I'm not going to go in detail, on what we did, how we talked, but there've been ongoing discussions about his program. Not about, it's about the things that Bill and I've been talking about for a year and continue to talk about. So those are the kind of discussions that we've had and we have over the last several days.
Dave, what has been done to prevent this from happening next year at this time?
You don't really want me to answer that question, do you? No, I'm kidding. I'm talking about the media. I don't mean that. I'm teasing you guys. I'm making a joke. I'm making a joke.
Dave,
I'm not.
It's another good season. People.
Well, life's like that. I mean, Joe, went through the same thing. Back then the Boston Patriots. That's how old I am. They were called the Boston Patriots back. Did you guys even know that? Yeah. Anybody know that it used to be the Boston Patriots? But. It's always a risk with any great coach. And if people weren't talking about Bill O'Brien, then we made a lousy hire. So the fact that people are talking about how great he is and what he would do other places, to me, that's a real compliment about the process we went through and what we did. So, it's like my other world I've lived in. When you have great professors and get hired away to be a dean somewhere, well, you made a great hire. You hate to lose the professor, but on the other hand, you made a great hire. Look, Bill O'Brien's committed to Penn State. I personally believe he wants to be here a long time. And I think, but life's like it is. I mean, even with Coach Joe, Boston Patriots came up and that was an almost go. Life's a long time. But I'm very confident that Bill is committed to Penn State and he wants to be here for a long time.
Dave, would the administration be open to maybe redoing or revisiting his contract as a way of incentive to keep him here? Well,
I'm not going to discuss contract things or anything like that. We're always trying to improve and we're always trying to make things better. There were no demands made, like you said, and so it continues to be an extremely good relationship. And like I said, with assistant coaches, we're always trying to help people and try to make things the best we can for everybody. So what may or may not occur, it's not relevant right now.
Dave, he discussed structural changes. How much of an open mind do you have on those changes?
That word structural change is Bill O'Brien doesn't try to get in the way, and no coach does, of the department. Okay, that's not their purview. But as it pertains to their program, we always talk about how we can do things better. For certain people in certain places, can we move them there? Do this within his department. Do we need more personnel and recruiting? And we've talked about those kind of things. So there's lots of those things that go on all the time. So,
Dave, you told us in Chicago in July that you will be here as long as Dr. Erickson is here. Would you like to see the acting title removed, or do you hope to stay longer than that on this job?
I'm here to serve at the behest of the president. I've said it. And I'll be here as long as they want me, and whatever they want to call me is okay with me. But obviously, that we'll see what happens with that.
Dave, one more thing. Your impressions of Governor Corbett's lawsuit?
Same as Bill. I'm not gonna comment on that.
Yeah, Bill's been here for a year. Everybody talks about that. In what ways have you improved as an AD after being?
Well, you always improve. There's a learning curve with everything, and I've improved in the fact that I think that we see things. Well, first of all, we were in a war zone, and so you got a ship, and we talked to the staff about this. You guys got to understand, for over a year, this was really a war zone, and you can't imagine. Everywhere in this university, the things that were going on. So you're in crisis control, crisis mode. You're trying to keep the ship from not sinking. Now we're in a building mode. The war, it's not over, but we're in an occupation, if you will. And so now we're in a rebuilding mode. And so now the coaches and I and everybody are working together and the same thing with Bill. What do you need for your program? How are we going to maximize? I mean, those are the things we're going to improve. We're going to improve how we can help them develop and use development dollars and help them fundraise together. And I'm having continual meetings with individual coaches about that, and we're going to continue doing that and focus on each and every one of those departments. So that's the thing that we're going to greatly enhance, is a good way to put it.
And with some of those non-revenue sports, is there any concern there? I mean, there were rumors about them before.
I like the word non-football or Olympic sports. I don't like the word non-revenue because the money doesn't make them important. It's their educational value to the university. It's not a criticism of you. That's just I don't use that word. But they're still they're still primarily focused on. They're very much important to this university, and our position is that as a great diverse university, it's our commitment to have a broad-based athletic program regardless of whether we had sanctions or not. And as you know, we're prevented for a period of 5 years of cutting budgets, eliminating any sports. We would never have that as a goal anyway. You know, I'm firmly committed to the non-revenue sports, if you will, or the Olympic sports as we talk about them, and we're going to continue to build those as best we can within this environment.
Dave, like you and Bill have said, it's continuing talks always about wanting to enhance the football program and improve in ways you can. How realistically can you sort of meet those sort of wanting to get those improvements while still maintaining a budget that is, you know, under fire for the next few years, or at least having some more constraints over the next few years?
Yeah, we can do that. We'll make those improvements. We'll be able to do those things, and I'm committed to it, and Bill's committed to it as well. So we'll be, and our board of trustees, everybody here is committed to doing that. Obviously, all within the rules and all correctly done and appropriately. But we have a lot of momentum, and I think that we can get a lot of things done that'll be very, very good for football.
Dave, are you aware of internet speculation or reports depicting a strained relationship between you and Bill?
I've heard something about that somewhere, but that's completely untrue. And Bill and I have a great relationship. We have always had a great relationship, and it's the same. It's the same now as it was on day one, you know, when we started. So.
Dave, Bill characterized himself as just a football coach. Do you see his role bigger than that?
He's an educator. You know, I mean, I mean, he says that to be self-effacing, and he's a very humble guy. Yeah, he is a football coach, but you know, a coach is somebody that's really a teacher and an educator, and he really serves that purpose very, very well, and he's able to you know, greatly enhance the experience for his student athletes, and we always say student athlete around here, and so I think, yeah, he says I'm just a football coach, but you know, as a football coach, you can have a lot of positive influence on not only the athletes and the student athletes that you directly influence, but the university and everybody else.
Okay, what about his broader impact on the overall university alumni base?
Well,
how important is that?
Well, I think it's very important. I think that, you know, this is not a football factory. You know, and that word was brought up a long time ago, but this is a great football school, but it's also a great university academically, and so Bill's interaction with the rest of the university on a very, very positive basis and being involved in the entire university community has a very positive impact on this place, and it's not because of football, but it's because of a great relationship that's generated by a very active and well thought of program. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Is there any hope here that for whatever reason the NCAA sanctions could be lessened somewhere down the road?
Well, I mean, I always hope that you know, a God bomb falls out of the sky. One of my friends said that's a real happy thing that happens to you. You know, who knows? I mean, the NC2A has said this is the way it is, and we're going to live under that box. I mean, I said that you put us in a cage, we're going to be cage fighters, and so we're going to fight within that cage that we have. And if something happens down the road, well, so be it. But we're not going to plan our lives around anything changing.
Is there any means of dialogue with them between you and President Erickson? Any lines of communication with the NCAA since all this happened?
Well, we have the monitor, Senator Mitchell, and that's the primary. You know, it's kind of an intermediary about how are we doing, what are we doing, and so those lines and Senator Mitchell's people are on campus, you know, virtually all the time, and we have a very good working relationship with them, and that's all going very well. So that's our main intermediary, you know, main contact with the NC2A through the monitor. Okay.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks.
Why aren't you up front? Why are we all back here?
It's Bill's day.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Bill's day. And so I didn't want to get up there and act like I was having a press conference. I knew you guys would. You know, I should have taken my coat with me. I could have made it out the door. But